of two workshops dedicated to immersive journalism, organized by Google News Lab. My name is Elisabetta Tola. I'm a journalist. There you can find my contact, both the Twitter handle and my email. Is there anyone in the room that has been already in the course, in the workshop we had yesterday or the day before? Okay, or maybe, is there someone who is at this type of workshop for the first time? News, okay. Right, so for the people who are here for the first time, I just want to spend a few minutes explaining what Google News Lab is, and then we deep dive into immersive journalism. So News Lab is a team within Google that has been created about 2 years ago with a specific task of supporting newsroom in their work and helping the integration between technology and journalism. So basically, it's a team of people who come mainly from journalism, as myself, but are going into newsroom or in a situation of training like this one to help journalists to make a better use of the tools that Google is producing and presenting. And the idea here is is really just try to see how technology can be integrated and implemented in a better way in the journalistic work. The Google News Lab website, it's also a platform for training. It's a training center. And here you can find a number of tutorials addressing different tools. So we're not only talking here about the video or the VR 360 we will talk about today, but you can find a number of courses regarding majority of tools like making a map. We did yesterday a workshop on maps, for example, or how to navigate in Google Earth and produce a video from Google Earth and so on. So if the internet helps us, I just want to show you how you can make a better use of this website. Okay, so you can basically go, let's see if we manage, yeah, here. You can basically go tool by tool and step by step learn how to use that tool. So there are a number of tools, of course. I'm sure many of you have used the most common tools like Maps or Street View. We will talk about Street View in a minute, how to use that in a journalistic context, so not only to navigate through a 3D world, but actually to use it to produce better content. And, but there are a number of tutorials also on other tools like reverse image search or Google Trends. We will talk about Google Trends tomorrow morning in the context of data journalism and so on. So I see the connection is a bit slow, but you can imagine here we go step by step and you can literally see how you can use the tool, and you see on the right side basically images and actions that you can go through. I don't really want to waste time on that because I think you can navigate through the website on your own, but I want to say that if you need any help in terms of how to improve your knowledge of a tool, you can always write to me directly or write to NewsLab support at google.com, which is the general email to address journalist needs. So now we deep dive into basically the use of 360 images and video, and we know that this is still a sort of a very innovative field. 360 images have been with us for a while, and definitely Google Street View has been with us for a while. I don't know how many of you use Google Street View. Is there anybody? Okay, how you use it, for professional use or personal use? Personal, right. Like I use it a lot personally because I'm very bad at orienteering, unfortunately. So when I have to go somewhere, for example, I usually go through Street View just to try to see how that street or place looks like, so I have some point of reference. That's a very common way of using Google Street View. We go to Street View directly, and I want to show you what it looks like. I actually already uploaded a number of things, so we should be going a bit faster, but okay. And see. I know. That's always a challenge, the web connection. Anyway, I don't know how many of you have downloaded the app of Google Street View on your phone. There is an iOS app and also an Android app for Google Street View. Is anybody using that? Okay, anyone using it, sorry. How you use it, just to navigate as well, or to produce content? To navigate, okay. So, I'm really sorry this is so slow. Oh no. Okay, let's see if we can do that way while the site is uploading. Basically, if you go to Google Street View directly, you can find a number of galleries of content that have been produced in 360, so in Images 360, which are allowing you to explore an environment. The Google Street View functions with 360 cameras, so you have either a car or a motorbike or a bicycle that are going around places and taking a series of 360 images, and then these images are stitched together, so you can then navigate in an environment going from one picture to the next. They're all very close, and so you move into a 360 environment, but it's a stream of images. This is not working. Can we have the... Okay, so if you go here, maybe going also with your mobile, you find a number of galleries that I really encourage you to explore. Some of these galleries have been produced directly by the Google Fleet. Some others have been produced in collaboration with association. There are, for example, galleries of very unreachable places, like top of mountains, or like you see here, the Vanuatu volcano, or we have also some galleries in deep oceans. These have been produced in association with research organizations or institutions, so they're being produced mainly with the task of documenting a place, and so allowing people to see images 360 or panorama images where you can move around of a place that it's not that easy to be reached, so it's not easily reachable for any normal person, okay? So you can visit these galleries and go through these places. They have a very important use, I think, from an educational point of view. You can use them also in reporting, just to show how a certain place looks like, and inviting people to actually take a stroll, for example, in archaeological place, like there is one of the galleries I prefer is the one of the Petra archaeological site. That's very nice. You can go through the ruins and through the different parts of the archaeological site. Let's see if the web has gone through. No. Okay, sorry, I'll just do the tethering so we go faster. If that's okay with you. Are you all connected? No. I know. Connection is always a problem. Really sorry. Just a second. Alla rete relatori. Non sta funzionando. Va bene. No, uso il tethering, va bene. Just give me a second, I'll connect to my phone. Okay, we'll see. Okay, let's see if this is working. Right, so if you go into one gallery, let's say we want to go into this volcano, you see that here you can explore the volcano, you see just moving around in a 360 environment, and you see the position on the right on the map. And you have a gallery which is composed by many different points of view around the volcano or other volcanoes. I was mentioning Petra, but I can show you as well Ghana highlights, or for example, Machu Picchu. That's an archaeological site, of course, so you can go around and go and visit the ruins. So you can imagine the use that you can make of these kind of pictures of galleries that can be used within a reportage talking about a place. But here you cannot embed directly this. You can link to it, you can show it, but you can do much more when you use Street View directly from maps, because there you can actually embed the pictures in your own website and your own HTML page. So let's do that, and you go in Maps. Okay, so if we go in Perugia, let's say we are in Corso Vannucci, right? So now we take our little pegman here, and we put the pegman on the blue track, because that's where the street view, either machine, a car, or a thing has been going around, and you see we are here in a 360 image. Now, this 360 image can be used and embedded in a website. I just have to go up here on the menu, you see on the left, and I can share or embed this image. So when I click on this, I can decide to get a medium image, a small image, or a large image, or a custom size as well, if you need that. And what you're going to embed is this. So your readers will be able to actually go around in the environment. They won't have only one point of view, but they will be able to actually move in the 360 environment, which is adding much more freedom, of course, but also much more information. Very often I say that when you want to show an environment, it's very nice to put your reader at the center of the environment, so they can actually choose and pick what kind of view they want to experience. And they're not forced to just look at what you have decided they have to look at, which is typically what happens in a normal 2D photo. There is a very important characteristic of Google Street View, which is helping us, let me just move from this, sorry, helping us in seeing also the history of a place, okay? So many places have been photographed more than once in the years. So you can actually go back and see how they look like. I want to show you, for example, we go here in a minute. I want to do that from maps. If I go to Milan, I know this place quite well. It's Piazza Gai Aulenti. People from Milan will know that this is a place that's seeing a very extensive renovation in the last few years, and a big set of buildings have been built. Actually, it's also around the area where the Google office is in Milan. So here we are in the Piazza Gai Aulenti. If we take our pegman and go, let's say, here in front of the piazza, just in front of the train station, okay, you see we have this big building here. These are all skyscrapers. Well, it's the only skyscraper in Milan. I'm sure that for people of cities where the skyscrapers are many and much higher, it's not a big deal, but there was a huge deal about this and a huge discussion. Many people didn't agree with this transformation of the city landscape, and then you see other buildings here. This picture comes from August 2014, when most of the work was finished. But you see there is a little clock there on the left. If you click on the clock, you go through a number of images. You go back to 2008, and you can actually click on the image and get the same place, the same position, but as it was in 2008. So you can actually download and use and embed the two images, 2008 and 2014, and show how the place has changed through the years, right? So we can actually see, for example, 2008, and you see no buildings in the back, no big skyscraper. Then in 2012, here they had been already building this, okay, but they were still working. And then we go ahead and we go in 2014. You see again little change, and in 2015, which is the present situation, okay? So if I download and embed the images side by side in my website, of course I can build a gallery to show how the place has changed. And this is true for many other situations. I just want to give you, for example, New York City and the Freedom Tower. This is particularly clear. Let's see if it's charging. Uploading. Oh, come on. Okay. Okay, we'll continue online. Anyway, that's true for many different places. I don't know if you have an idea of places you would like to show like that. It's very, very useful when you're talking about urban modification or renovation. It's also very useful when we're talking about places that have been changed by an event like an earthquake, like flooding, like a fire, and everything like that, okay? So you can actually see the before and after situation, okay? Okay, so now, in Street View, you can navigate and use those images, but you can actually collaborate and upload your images. You can create your own 360 picture, and then you can actually upload it directly on the web, on the Google Maps, with a geolocation, and then find then your picture in that kind of position. Okay, my slides are not really working here, but I'll show you directly how we do that. If you go and say, okay. Right. You can use a Google Street View app. I don't know, has anyone used an app like that? Do you have, okay, oh, Matt. Right, so if you download your Google Street View app on your phone, it's something very easy to do, that when you are in a certain position, you can just open your app. I'll just show you from far. Okay, so you position yourself once this is running. Obviously, we are very covered here in terms of connection. Okay, so you position yourself where you want, and then simply by clicking on the little camera here, you can upload an image that you have done already, or you can shoot an image, okay? So if, let's say, I want to actually produce an image here, I just click on the camera, and I start clicking. You see, there is a guide that allows me to produce a 360 images very easily, okay? Of course, you have to try to be as straight as you can, okay? You move around and you're guided through the production of the 360 images. Once you have finished all the 360, you can upload it very easily. So it's geolocated in the position where you're taking your picture. And then you can go back through Street View and see your image uploaded there. If we go where we were before, in Milan, okay, these images on the top are the one produced by Street View, but we can see on the bottom here a number of images that have been taken by users. So for example, if I go here and click this image, this is being taken by a user, and it's very easy to actually see who is the person who has taken that image. I really urge you to always look who's the author of the image and not to use images of other people. I mean, you can easily and freely use the Google Street View images. I'll show you in a minute. There is a specific terms of use. Basically, what we ask is not to remove the logo, but you can use the images in your reporting easily. Don't take images by private people without asking permission to them, because that's really important. They have the copyright and they hold the copyright of their own images. They've only left the copyright, the license to be uploaded on the maps, but that doesn't mean that they are happy with that image to be reused, okay? So the person is very easily mentioned here. You can go and see this person and the portfolio images that has been uploaded by her. So if you upload an image, that's where you find your image as well. You can then go and do the embedding. So it might be very nice sometimes to create a gallery of images that you want to use directly. So you are in a certain place, you take those images, upload them on the Google Street View, and then just go and do the embedding from the Google Street View directly in your website. So it's a way to produce a 360 images that is easily embedded in your website. Now, if you want to use, instead of using, I'll do it like this so we don't have the problem with the connection. But if you want to use special 360 cameras, there are a number now on the market. They're coming more and more. Like the first one that we've been using was the Ricoh Theta. Actually, I think the price has dropped since. And there are more and more sophisticated camera, of course, so you can go from the bottom of the range to a very top level camera, but you can experiment 360 production quite easily. And as I said, it's very easy to upload an image on the Google Street View directly from the app that you can use. It's very nice thinking in terms of reporting, for example, to bring your readers directly into an environment where they rarely have access. Let's say you are, for example, witnessing a debate, a public debate, or you are in a demonstration, a situation where your reader could actually feel more immersed if they have a chance to move around instead of just having one single picture. Okay, very important. If you are good at, see, I just saw Enrico Teta there. Just taking a picture, right? So maybe you can look, if you can show, sorry. Can you show us how you do? You just go up there, you see, and just take a snapshot, and that's it. Right, so with one snapshot, instead of going around with your phone as I did before, that's a much faster device, of course. If you want to adapt the use of your 360 images, you can use the API, and that's quite a nice website where you are guided through the use of the API to actually make galleries which are more personal, most customized, okay? So there are a number of examples in different media that have taken the 360 images, but instead of simply embedding them as they have created galleries, for example, putting before and after effects that are particularly nice and important to see. Okay, I want to show you this. For example, this is a bookstore in San Francisco, and that's very nice. It's within an article the San Francisco Chronicle prepared to show all the traditional shops in a specific neighborhood of the city. So if you want, for example, to bring your readers within these shops and to show how they look like the traditional shop and what kind of atmosphere is there, to take a 360 pictures is a very effective way to do that. This is a very nice gallery. I really recommend you to go and look at that. I'm sorry, I'm just not taking the chance of trying to upload that because of the internet connection, but if you go here and you can see, the New York Times has done a very interesting experiment. After the Nepal earthquake, they basically picked a number of pictures in different areas of Kathmandu and the surroundings that have been shot before the earthquake. So some of these were street view images, others were actually private users' images. And then they sent the photographer exactly at the same point, so in the same geolocation, and took the picture after the earthquake. And then they built a gallery, and you have to imagine that you can actually move around this 360 environment in a parallel way. So you can see the same place before and after the earthquake, but not just compare in a static way, you're moving inside that. So you're actually being able to see angles and also the extent of destruction or of change in a certain point of the city. Okay, so we always like to show this kind of historical flow. So we go from the desktop PC through the web, mobile, and the next venture that we're looking into is what we call VR or AR, the augmented reality or virtual reality. We know we're talking about, very often we use these kind of terms in a very confused way, kind of as if they were the same thing. They are not. But it's very interesting to see what we can do now and what are the frontiers of exploration that we are looking into for the next future. There are some questions about Street View up to here, because otherwise we dive into the 360 video. No? Okay. So the step we are really entering, I think it's been maybe a year and a half, a couple of years, that lots of people are starting experimenting with 360 video. It already looks like a lot of things have been produced, but I'm sure there is much more that can be done. So if you want to look at the 360 video, so here we're not in a static situation with an image moving around, but we are shooting a video with a 360 camera. You can actually check the YouTube 360 channel. Let's see if we manage to... Okay, so here you find lots of videos that have been uploaded and that have characteristic of being shot with 360 camera. I'll show you in a minute which kind of cameras might be used. But it's very nice if you go into any of these videos. Let's find one maybe. Okay, of course, there is no point in watching a video like this from a desktop, but I show you anyway what I mean when we say you can move around, you see? From a desktop, you're moving around with your mouse or your trackpad, okay? And you're moving to an environment, you see? Right? So you imagine that your reader can be immersed into the environment rather than having simply a set of images, okay? What is nicer, though? It's not being on a desktop. It's being on a phone like this. Because if you look at a 360 from a phone, I really invite you to do that. If you go to YouTube and take your YouTube channel,
Berglind, I see.
I'll just show you how it looks like.
For me, actually, modeling is just...
Your phone becomes a sort of
I feel like I'm just creating
a sort of window on the environment around.
And to see the final collaboration between all these people, and I mean, it's absolutely amazing what a
Okay,
fantastic team
let's
can
see if we manage to see something like that.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Hit me up and ask me if
Okay.
I would like to.
If you move the phone around, you see?
Fashion shoot.
You see in a minute,
So,
okay, what I
Santa
mean.
Monica,
If you move
I'm
your
at
phone
the
around,
team,
you're actually moving
and,
within the environment. So you can
love the
see
concept, love the
that
idea.
while you are
And,
looking at the
we
video,
went
you're
for it.
actually moving within the environment of the video, okay? So that also a way to bring your viewer not to see a video where you have specifically chosen a point of view, but being at the center of the action. Of course, this means that you are changing completely the way you actually shoot the video, and that's where the experimentation is becoming very important. There is another device that it's been recently become very popular, which is the cardboard. And the cardboard is a pair, I'll show you in a minute, a pair of glasses that you can actually allow you a stereoscopic view. So you won't, you put the cardboard here and you are immersed into the environment. It's something similar, I don't know. How many of you are gamers in the room? Is there any video gamer? Come on, I don't believe, okay, thank you. I'm sure there are more, okay. So video gamers know that for years now we've been trying to get the real virtual reality, so to be immersed in the video game, and with the Oculus we're getting there, right? So the Oculus Rift is that big set of glasses that you put around your head, and then you are in the environment of the video game. So in that case, that's proper virtual reality, because you are taking into a reality that's being completely drawn, okay? But in the case of VR 360 images in terms of video, we are trying to do something similar, bringing the people inside an environment and getting them feeling the feeling of being immersed in that kind of environment, okay? How do we do that? Okay, I show you a few examples, but I want to show you the tools first. So, cameras are experimenting, of course. So this is one type of camera. You see that there are many cameras all put together as in a round tool, or I'll just come back here. Again, the Ricoh Theta, and then we can have other types of camera like those. You see, there are different shapes. I don't know if you have ever seen any of these. Sometimes they look like a hair dryer, like a little ball, and they have all the camera sticking out, or, you know, there are more and more coming out, more experiments. GoPro, for example, that are mounted together, so 4, 6 or more of them. See what I mean as a hairdryer? There you have an example, okay? And again, as I say, the more you can invest on a camera, and the more you can actually get a good result by having many different points of view. That's why approaching more and more the real 360, okay? Of course, we're talking about a situation where things are still at an experimental stage. The most difficult part is the stitching phase, which is soon after having taken all your video. Let's say you have taken your video moving, like you take the video from here, then you move somewhere else. It's a different approach. It's a different building of the story compared to what we're used to do with a normal camera. But once you have all your material, you have to stitch the material together. So there is a program I want to show you. Let me just get there, should be this one, Video Stitch. This is one of the programs that you can try and use. It's a software that's been released and updated up to now a few times, and it's a software that basically allow you to experiment stitching and trying to produce something in a quite easy way, quite intuitive, okay? There are, of course, other, I'm not saying it's the only one, but here you can follow as well some tutorial and experiments. So it's a very good one. And there is one big thing that we have to take into consideration when we're talking about that, which is the type of resolution, okay? Now, if you allow me for a second, I just want to show you. See, you go from the very small one, the Ricotetas here, to get to the real professional, the 6 GoPro system. We're still talking about cameras who are very expensive. We're talking about a few $1,000s or like $10,000 or more, okay? But as always in terms of technology, we're sure that more and more the people use that, and the prices are already going down. So I've tried to do some video with my little Ricoteta, and I have to say that's already quite satisfying. And for the kind of experimentation we can do for a media today, it's already nice. Have you used that? Have you tried? So how did you use that? To do what? Sorry, just a second. I'm sorry, just if I get someone that has experimented that, go.
Sure. So we use 360 cameras, mainly the Ricoh Theta in Turkey, to cover protests in the field. So I send around our brave journalists who stand in the middle of a dangerous protest with a Theta in hand like this.
Right.
And they capture the incident. It's very valuable because you can see if someone's throwing a Molotov or there's some kind of police, issue. It captures everything all around. So it's a good format.
That's the thing. You don't risk to miss something. Like you are there in the middle, and let's say you're looking into a place, and then something happens behind you. Like the camera captures the entire environment. So, of course, there is a lot to be done in terms of improving the technology and the quality. But the fact of experimenting with a new approach of documenting facts, I think it's very, very intriguing. Okay. Let's go to, I just wanted to show you what what the cardboard looks like. The cardboard has been this sort of invention that Google has produced. Let me see if I managed to show you the actually cardboard side. The cardboard is a very simple type of, of goggles, let's say, for the 360 viewing, okay? It's really easy to use, and you use it like that, basically. You just open it and put your phone inside the cardboard, okay? So let's see if we can see. Has anyone used that? Yeah? Okay, so you basically put your phone, so you open your cardboard here, you see? Inside there, and then you switch on the stereoscopic view, and so you are with the phone inside the cardboard and you're moving around and actually watching the movie or the video, being more immersed into the situation. So even if we're not talking super high quality in terms of high definition, of course we're far from that at the moment with these kind of cameras, still the experience is completely different because you are in the place, you are in the environment that's been documented, okay? The cardboard costs about $5 or $7. There are loads of producers. It's not an exclusive by Google. You can find very fashionable ones, whatever, but you can also make your own. You can actually get instruction to make that with cardboard, and just buying the 2 lenses, you can make your own. So it's very, very handy, very nice, and very easy to produce. I want to show you a couple of examples of very simple video that have been done. So I'm sorry, people who know me, and especially in these days, know that I talk about earthquake a lot. I'm really sorry, but that's when the reporting in Italy in the last few months could actually explore the use of some of these technologies, because that's a very powerful situation. This is Accumuli during last summer, so you can see that we can move around in the town, one of the towns that has been destroyed by the earthquake during the summer, okay? So as you see, the camera is staying still for a while and then moving somewhere else. So the video, it's a video, but it's not made with the same type of movement you would have in a normal video, okay? Still, it is bringing you all around, and as I say, you would appreciate that much more watching it from the phone or from the cardboard than from the desktop, okay? It's definitely much more effective. Another very nice example, it's this one. This was produced last May. We had a huge earthquake 40 years ago in the northeastern part of the country, and this is a video telling the story 40 years after. So, for example, this is starting with what happened 40 years ago, so the minute
Era
where
stata una
this...
giornata calda, troppo calda per una regione al confine tra l'Austria e la Slovenia. Alle 21 e una manciata di secondi un boato ruppe il silenzio della sera.
No, sorry.
Era il 6 maggio 1976. Il terremoto, disse qualcuno, ma non fece in tempo a completare la frase che la terra iniziò a tremare.
See, if you embed in a video 360 old videos, it looks like that. It looks squeezed, right? So this is the original one, the video from 40 years ago, okay?
Quella scossa durata quasi un minuto squarciò
So
il
you're forced to
Friuli,
look at that
lasciando
in
mille
that
morti,
way. It's not
macerie,
really square.
distruzione.
But then you move back into the 360, 40 years later.
40 anni dopo, Gemona si presenta
And you're
così.
now looking at the
È
town
il
as it
simbolo
looks
di una
now because
comunità
it's
che ha
been completely
ricostruito se
rebuilt.
stessa,
Okay?
partendo dalle fondamenta.
So just to show you how effective it is, if you want to show something that's changing history, you can go in the place as it is now, go back using footage. Of course, the footage is not in 360, but you can put that inside and then go back to the actual footage that you do at the moment. And so you can actually bring your reader to see how the town has been rebuilt and what has changed 40 years later. You see, even the interviews, of course, are different. It's a completely different way of shooting, but it is very effective. Well, I think it is very effective. I'm curious to hear from you if you share this. Okay. I just wanted to give you a few more examples. There, let's see. Oh, this is an example of how you actually fold your cardboard. So the cardboard comes as a little box, and you can just put your phone inside as this, as you see, and then look away. Okay, I just want to give you two more examples. There have been many in recent, as I said, months. One of the earliest one was published a year ago. I think was actually a year and a half ago, November 2015. Has anybody seen this, The Displaced? No? Yes. This is a huge work done by the New York Times, very interesting. The experimentation with VR was done in collaboration with Google. Google basically gave the cardboard to all the New York Times subscribers to actually enjoy the view. But it's a long form that brings the reader in 3 different refugee camps following the story of 3 kids. So each situation is basically filmed in 360. So you can go in Sudan, you can go in Ukraine, and you follow the story of one of these kids in this place. Of course, beside the 360 one, the New York Times has also created an app to actually watch that. If you want to really, I can show you the New York Times VR app. They have an app that you can download from both stores, App Store or Google Play Store. They have now produced a number of videos. So you can really watch. That was one of the first one or the first one, but then, yeah. And then many more have been produced. So you can use the app on your phone to actually watch all the movies that they have produced. The Displaced has been very important to really assess the power of this kind of tool to bring someone in a place which is not usually accessible, because it's not that common for one of us to actually go in a refugee camp or in a situation like that, okay? So it's been extremely powerful in that. I don't know how many of you have actually seen the 649 experiment, The Guardian. This is a very different experiment. The Guardian decided to use 360 in a real sort of virtual reality. So this is animation in a way. It's being built on real facts. So the facts are the stories of 7 people who live the experience of solitary confinement in a small cell, and they tell the story. So the audio here, it's extremely important. I want to show you the trailer so you understand what I mean.
Welcome to your cell. You're going to be here for 23 hours a day.
You are going to undergo many different kinds of reactions, and some of them will be more immediate than others.
Keep your eye on survival.
Memorize your space. After a while, things start to slip.
I find myself floating.
The toilet that drips.
Okay, I'll stop here. I have to say I always have to take it in bits because it's so strong. The voices are the real voices of these 7 people, and the audio has been taken in an incredible way, so it's highly professional, really. And also the view you see. So you are in the cell, you're moving in the cell. The cell, of course, is very small, and you're hearing these voices coming from different parts because the idea is really to bring you within the cell and feel the same kind of feeling, like the water dripping or other type of sounds that you can imagine become very important when you are there alone for 23 hours a day, right? So it's being a very important experiment. I think it's been downloaded, I don't know if anyone from The Guardian here, but it's been downloaded a lot. It was extremely successful, even in the few hours after the publication, and it resulted being a very important production, not an easy production, I guess, because here we're talking about, as I say, an animation. The idea was also that it was very difficult to go and film in a solitary confinement cell and to put then all of these effects of the voices coming from different environments, but it's extremely accurate and very, very effective. El País has done something similar, but more, let's say, journalistic in the sense of a reportage. Let's see if we can find that here. They did a document on Fukushima, a reportage, and here again we can see that they bring their readers directly in the video 360 and allow them to move around the environment. Okay, so that's another interesting way of doing it. Like it's a normal long form, as you see, but then you can actually also move. There are some parts of the 360 video that you can move around. So it's really very nice. There is the experience of riots. I just want to give you a gallery of examples because that's it's a very dynamic environment, a very dynamic field. Riot is a production company basically specialized in 360 VR production. They started doing that. They were actually among the first using this kind of technology. Some of their first work was actually in Nepal on the earthquake, with Susan Sarandon reading. So she was the speaker for this short video that was bringing the people in Kathmandu after the earthquake. And they've been experimenting so well that basically they joined, I think there is a collaboration with the Huffington Post. They've been taking into the Huffington Post publication. So they're doing a lot of video for that. I really think it's a nice type of production that you can look at. Okay, there are many more examples. One example I like, this is very small and very nice, but for example, you can see a 360 video. Let's see in YouTube. I think it's 360 video cockpit. For example, you can even, it doesn't have to be always disaster because I don't want to appear as if I'm always showing only that, but you can bring your reader, for example, in the cockpit on an airplane, right? So that's very nice because that's a way to show how the airplane operates, something that we can't watch anymore. Years ago we could go in the cockpit, but we can't anymore because of security reasons. And it's very nice to be there and actually see how the plane operates or how a self-driving car operates, for example. So it's also a way to actually show things that really are not reachable, not only because they are far or difficult, but because simply they're not accessible to most people. So Here you are there with the two pilots, you see, while they are operating the airplane. Okay. Now, the Google News Lab has been really investing a lot on this field. Journalism 360 is becoming one of the fields where the experimentation is taking place more. So there is a new venture with online, with ONA, Online News Association, and with the Night. I just wanted to show you here, Journalism 360 Medium. Let's see if we find the Medium post where you can get more information on this. Let's see. Okay, so this is Medium blog, and here you can find a lot of experiences and a lot of lessons learned, so posts that are telling you basically how people have been experimenting this kind of technology and what kind of things are working and what are not. And there is also a grant scheme that it's actually, I think it's closing, I know, 5 minutes. Okay, there is this challenge. I think April 10th is the deadline for this round, but you can still have a few days if you have a project in mind that you want to enter the challenge. There is a global challenge where you can actually take part and see if you can get a project on Journalism 360 funded. So if you have an idea and you're ready, 3 days, but you can still try and give it a try and see if you get support. In any case, these are reference point, very important reference point to see where we can experiment and what kind of things can grow worldwide in this field. Okay, there is, as I said, the challenge that already it's clear, and I just wanted to give a last reference, sorry, before we're kicked out. There. I like this picture because we know we are here. Do you remember those big mobile phones we were using, mid-90s? Okay, that's exactly where we are at the moment with this kind of technology. So it's really, there is a lot to do in terms of the quality of the images, of the ideas that are creating this kind of thing, so how we're going to use this thing. But we can imagine that it's going to grow because now this kind of technology is really very easy to use. So the fact that we are consuming video on mobile phones makes this kind of video much more approachable. You don't need a huge amount of device or a very expensive device to do that. Okay, so I'll give you all my references and my point of contact, the G.co News Lab website. There is a full course on 360 as well, and there will be more in the next weeks and months because more tutorials will be uploaded. There is a Google News Lab Twitter account that you can follow, and the YouTube, where there are YouTube channel of Google News Lab, where there are already a couple of video office hours on how to produce WAR and what's happening. So making, like, let's say, also a, as I say, it's not such a mature technology where we just go and say we do it like that. It's more of a case of collaboratively thinking of how we can improve this kind of technology and get somewhere with it. Okay, and these are the emails I was telling you before. NewsLab support, google.com. You can write here. There is a team behind this. And if you have any questions regarding these tools or the other tools we've been talking about yesterday, and we will talk tomorrow, or my personal email, that's tola@google.com. So I hope I have 2 minutes for a couple of questions. Okay? Are there any questions? Or doubts? Or the idea that you think maybe this is not useful, or could be. Yes.
Wait. The microphone. Yeah. Can you edit the 360 video as a normal video?
Yeah, it's a bit more complicated, but you can edit, as well as you can upload it to the video, to the YouTube 360 channel. There are specific instructions. So, as I said, the software I was showing you before here, the Video Stitch, is for stitching and editing of the video. So it allows you also to do some editing. It's not so immediate yet. I'm sure we will get there, but it takes a while. Yes?
So as freelance, we are now able to do some things with 360 cameras, also in mobile journalism. But as Google prepares something technical about one of the biggest problems I avoid when I do live in 360, when I edit something in 360, when I produce something in 360, that is some technical advices in which position you should do, you should be, which movement you should take, in which way you should dominate the space, because you have no point of view.
Yes.
You have an environment that is all around you,
Yeah.
and you have to describe, because I think more or less the 2 or 3 types of experience you can gain with a 360 video are, or you are inside one environment and you explain the one, or you're doing an experience, or you're let the people show an ambience describing with a voice over outside, isn't it?
I totally agree with you. Just for example, this is an image I took during one of my recent journey, and of course I'm here. I'm here, you're right, because I didn't use the stick, and even if you use a stick, you're still there. So for the video, it's a bit different, because you could put the video and then move, so you're not, although, as they were saying, if you are in the middle of a process, absolutely. So, yeah, you're right, there is still a lot to do. You see my big thumb there, because I'm there with that, right? So it's really ugly. That's why this Journalism 360 initiative has been started, but it's really recent. We're talking about these weeks. It's been launched a few weeks ago. And the idea is really to collect these kind of needs, but also to think of the solutions. And you already start finding some ideas of how some people have tried to solve that. Lots of people are experimenting that more in the field of shows or sport, for example, because it's very powerful to think of being there in a sports situation. So the Medium blog post, it's a good place to find advices and to find these kind of lessons learned. But also, yeah, and in the next few weeks and months, there will be tutorials, specific tutorials produced and uploaded on the NewsLab website to actually help that production. So I can tell you that. That's why I'm telling you, we're really at the beginning. We're finished, okay. So please, if you have any question, write me, but also if you produce something, please share it with me, because I'm trying to collect also experiences, okay? Thank you so much.